Flosstube, it's Sam at Sammy J Stitches. It's April 19th, and I'm going to do the original cross stitch tag today. I'm at work, didn't want to have to pull out all my whips and this and that and the other, so this is just going to be us chatting and me telling you, or answering these questions for you. I found the list of questions on Trisha's blog, The Left-Handed Stitcher, and the original tag was by MNE Mama, and then it was revised by Stitching May. I'm not sure how this consensus of questions matches to those, but these are the ones I'm working off of. So let's get started. Question 1, how did you start, or who introduced you to cross stitch? I was 6 or 7. Yeah, I think I was about 7. And my aunt was pregnant with my little cousin, and she was cross stitching some bibs for her, and she had it came in a pack of 2, and she was working on one, and she gave me the other, sat me down and showed me how to do it. I'm not sure if I finished it, and then just off and on since then, up until probably the last 6 or 7 years when I really started getting into cross stitch. But it was always there. It was the knowledge she gave me, and she's no longer with us, but she lives on. So, question number 2, do you have a favorite theme or designer? I didn't think I did. I know so many people talk about Shadowlands and Mirabilia and Heaven and Earth Designs, like those, Joan Elliott. Those are the big names you hear all the time, and so I was like, well, are one of those my favorite? And when I went through and looked at all my stuff, I was amazed to find that most of what the patterns that I really like that I have to start soon or have already started are by Doreen Jones. And I didn't even know who that was until the Lakeside Needlecraft Fantasy Stitch Along, which is designed by Doreen Jones. And I jumped on that one as soon as I saw the border, because the border was just right up my alley, with the fantasy and the colors, and even the way that she does the back stitching, because it's not just an outline of back stitch, it's really there to accentuate the piece. And then when I went back, and a lot of my patterns are from magazines, and I went back and looked at the designers, and a lot of them were Doreen Jones. So I'm going to say that she's my favorite designer. So I don't know that I necessarily have a favorite theme. I have stuff I know I don't care much for, but I've been noticing that's been changing and evolving the more I watch Flosstube. So there's a chance that that won't even be the case here pretty soon. So question number 3, what floss brand do you use? DMC. I've never actually used anything but DMC as of yet. I do have a few that were given to me as gifts, but I haven't actually played with them. And I want to experiment with them, but I don't know that I will ever just go away from DMC. DMC is probably going to be my main floss forever. So, question number 3, what is your fabric of choice? I didn't think I had one of these either. Originally, when I first started counting cross stitch, 18 count Aida was what I could find at my local big box needlework stores. Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. That's what I have closest to me, and even then it's still over an hour away. So, and I'm impatient and I like instant gratification, so I wanted to be able to go to the store, pick it up, take it home, work on it. And so I would pick up 18 count Aida. Now a few of mine have like linen and stuff, but then they didn't. And so once I got more involved in the cross-stitching community, I learned of hand-dyed fabrics, and I ordered me a few. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what. So I just clicked on something. And so I was going through all my fabrics the other day, and I leave the tags on them so I know. And wouldn't you believe that most of them are 32 count Lugana. I have some 28 count Lugana. Most of it's 32 count Lugana. 32 if I'm going to do over 2. 28 if I'm only going to do over 1. And so I apparently have a favorite. And honestly, this is how ridiculously new I am to this. It doesn't matter that it's been a few years. I can't even tell you if Lugana is linen or even weave. I like it. That's all that matters. So, I still do 18 count Ado for my smaller projects, ornaments and bookmarks, things like that. But if it comes to fabric, I really seem to like that Lugana. Okay, question number 5. Do you use a needle threader or are you a floss licker? I'm a floss licker. Yeah. Always have been. I do want to get a needle threader for like my projects that are on a frame, because you know, bending down to lick that floss because you can't move the frame up to your face, I look a little ridiculous. So I do want to get a needle threader for that, but otherwise I like the floss. Question number 6. What kind of stitching frame do you use? For my smaller projects and my on the go, I like those spring hoops, where it's the plastic hoop and it's got the metal inside and it's a spring. You just go whoop, whoop. So it's quick and easy, and I can, it of course doesn't hold the tension very well, but I can adjust it very quick and easy. Unlike the ones that have the little screw where you have to loosen it and tighten it and adjust it, I like the little spring ones. For my bigger projects, I use Q-snap. I really like it, but I only have the one. So until I get more of those, it'll be the big projects on the Q-snap and the smaller projects on the hoop. I do have a scroll frame, but it's a classic case of you get what you pay for, and I bought it for like 10 or 15 bucks at Joann's, and so it's not a very good one, and it doesn't keep the tension like I like it, and maybe it's just a lack of know-how on how to use a scroll frame, but I'm just, the frame thing is not a thing for me yet. Question number 7. How many projects have you finished? This is where I probably should have done a little bit of research before trying to do this video, but what can you do? I would probably say maybe a dozen, and most of those are really small finishes. A lot of my cross-stitching projects growing up, I would start and then I would mess up, and instead of frogging, which I know to do now, I would just be like, project's dead, just throw it in the trash, or donate it, or whatever I did with it. I don't even remember. I just get rid of it. Wouldn't even try and fix it or go with the flow. I do that a little more now. Oh, well, I kind of messed up that color there, but it didn't really make that big a difference. Let's just keep going. I do a lot of that now. So I don't have a lot, and a lot of them are smalls. So I would say maybe a dozen. Question number 8. How many completed works do you have currently displayed in your home? 1. 1. I have, it was a 5x7 by Designworks. It says Imagination, or Imagine, and it's got a unicorn and beads. I kitted that up, or I stitched it up, put it in a frame. It's in my daughter's room. Question number 9. Do you have more stitching? Do you do more stitching for gifts or keep them for yourself? This is a technically difficult question. Okay, so I stitch for me. I stitch because I enjoy it, because I like the patterns. But 90% of the time, before the project's even complete, or once it's complete, things like that, they tend to go to other people. I have very diverse taste in what I like to stitch. Therefore, it's not all going to go together in a room in my home. They're not going to look good sitting next to each other because they're different. You've got your modern and your more antique. You've got your country and you've got your, subversive. And so, it would not make sense for me to keep all of them, because a lot of them are just going to sit in a box. And then there's there's often times where, I'll finish a piece, I'll throw it in my finished whips box, and then somebody's birthday comes along and I'm like, oh, what am I going to give them? Oh, I know. And I go and pull it out of that box, frame it, and give it to them. And so I stitch for me, but I like to give gifts. Now my big projects, those babies are going up on my wall. But I like to share my passion with other people, and they may not care and they may not like it, and I don't care. If it makes me think of them, I will give it to them. Question number, what number am I on? Question number 9. Oh no, that's the one I just answered. Okay, question 10. What was your favorite project or finish you are most proud of? That would be, I have it in a design, Story Keep, Secrets of the Great Masters. It is a book that says Secrets of the Great Masters, and then it has a dragon in front of it, the little cutesy type dragon. He's got a pencil and a paintbrush. And when I went looking for this project, I was looking specifically for something for my dad. I knew I wanted it to have a dragon. And then when I came across that piece, there were so many other elements to it that just screamed either him or explained some bits about our relationship. And so I was like, oh, that's perfect. And it was Story Keep. It was like 3.5, 4 pages. And honestly, it was probably the first thing I truly finished. And so I'm very proud of it. And when I go and visit him, I pet it. Because it still kind of amazes me that I completed something that big. And it's so pretty, and I pet it. So, number 11. What has been your least favorite or worst experience while stitching? I kind of took this 2 ways. And my least favorite thing about stitching is Krennic. Krennic drives me crazy. I mean, just trying to thread it into the needle is impossible, practically. It doesn't matter that you're a floss licker. In fact, that's probably one of the places where it'd be better to have a threader, but even then, it's so thick that trying to get it through the needle, and then the tearing feeling as it's coming through the fabric, I can't stand it. Least favorite thing is Krennic. I love the way it looks. I don't like working with it. And then probably French knots. I haven't mastered them yet. Someday I'll get there, and then I'll love them, I bet. Maybe not. Anyways, my least favorite experience with the project is a Paula Vaughn. It's one of her quilt ones. It's got like the quilt on a rocking chair on a porch, and I was making it for my aunt, for another aunt, and I don't know what it was. Couldn't get the motivation to stitch it. I would stitch quite a bit, and then I'd get off, and I wouldn't want to frog it and fix it. And I've restarted it twice, and finally I just said nope, no more. I will not finish this one. I'm not doing it. No. So, and it's the first time I've ever, I don't know, had that much of a problem. Just drove. Anyway, moving on. Before I say the same thing a dozen times. Number 12. What do you love and what do you hate about cross stitch? I'm gonna go back to I hate critic. um, Sometimes I hate how much time it takes to complete a piece. That's one of those that you kind of have a love-hate relationship. You want it to take time. You want it. I mean, the whole purpose of it is to utilize your time. But then I want it done too. Like, it's that war in myself. I want to be doing it and I want it done. And so I love cross stitching. Just about everything about cross stitching. Mostly watching the picture come together and develop. I love that I have something to show for my time that I spend cross stitching, because I used to play video games all the time, and at the end of the day I don't have anything to show for that time other than, you know, crazy hair and tiredness. I don't have anything I could give somebody and be like, look what I have spent hours and hours doing just for you. So I like that it's something to utilize my time. I'm also not good at sitting still. Like, if I'm watching a TV show, I'll be playing on my phone or something. So cross stitching gives me that utilization of my hands while still being able to do what I want to do, like read a book, watch Flosstube, watch TV. If you notice, I talk with my hands. I mess with things. I constantly need my hands moving, so it gives my hands something to do while I go about my day. My phone fell asleep. Okay. Question number 13. Have you introduced anyone else to cross stitch? I'm trying. My daughter has shown interest, but she doesn't stick with it. That's not unusual. She likes to read, but she doesn't like finishing a book. I'm sure she'll be fully into it one day, but she knows the basics. She knows how to cross stitch. My son has been showing some interest lately, but I don't know that he'll be any better on the focusing front. Probably when they're a little bit older. My sister-in-law, she used to tease me that it was an old lady thing to do. That old ladies sit with their needles, and I think she was thinking more knitting, but even cross stitching. And there was one day she was really bored and she didn't have anything to do, and I'm like, here, just try it. And we got her one of those Learn to Stitch. It had an owl, and we would sit there every night and watch Teen Wolf and cross stitch together, and it was amazing, and it was so much fun. And she did complete the project, and she hangs it up in her house, and she loved it. She doesn't stick with it like I do. She's not passionate about it like I am, but she does it from time to time, and she did love it, if even for a project. So that's what's important to me. And she doesn't tease me anymore. I'm not a little old lady with my cross stitching. And she really likes when I send her cross stitching patterns of like cupcakes and stuff, because she loves to bake. Baking is her thing. Cross stitching is mine. Question number 14. What was your first project, and did you finish it? If not, what was your first finish? And I've kind of answered this. My first project was the bib. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I finished it or not. I was too young to remember. But, so I'm going to count my first official finish as the Story Keep Secrets of the Great Masters. And it's definitely my proudest finish, but I think it's also my first finish. Question number 15. How do you store your cross stitch floss? Now, this is one I probably could have showed you had I been at home, but that's okay. I wind them on bobbins. I know that bobbin winding is like a major waste of time, and a lot of people don't do it anymore. There's other ways to store your floss, but I like it. I like the way it looks and feels. I don't mind taking a second to wrap it back on there after I'm done with a strand of floss. Or sometimes I'll just have like a pile of all the flosses. And then once it's on the bobbin, I have one of those big rectangle things you get at a hardware store that where you put screws and nuts and bolts in little drawers, and it fits these if I lay them sideways like this so that you see the numbers, and then each drawer is labeled like, you know, 900 through 1,000, whatever. It's not that many, because I think I counted out like 12 consecutive numbers and then put the label across and then 12, because once I calculated, that's how many you can split, and it holds a whole set easily. Probably 2 whole sets, but I hadn't really focused. I filled in the spaces in between after putting a full set in there, and then whatever else goes in my little bobbin box, project organizer boxes, and just labeled extras. So that's it. That's the original cross stitch tag. There are a ton of tags out there, and I want to work my way through them. I figure maybe 1 a week. We'll see how well I do. So thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for subscribing and liking, commenting, and I hope you have a great stitchy week. Bye.